over 60 years of operating from sea, air, and land, U.S. Navy SEALs measure their success and failures in blood, self-sacrifice, and a ruthless determination to win.
During JFK's term as president, the United States military had been in Vietnam, Laos, Cuba, and other places in an attempt to halt the spread of communism and contain the Soviet Union. The United States military needed an all-terrain, unconventional warfare unit to execute special missions, like reconnaissance, training allies, eliminating specific threats, and much more. The military had previous unconventional warfare units. Although they were too specialized, these were used as a foundation for an all-terrain unconventional warfare unit called the Navy SEALs. The creation of the Navy SEALs was the most transformative military decision because they combined the arts of sea, air, and land combat into one fighting force, while they provided unconventional warfare in the United States' times of need, as they transformed the way the U.S. waged wars. The roots of the Navy SEALs started with the World War II Naval Combat Demolition Unit known as the NCDU. They were created to remove German obstacles which had rendered Normandy beaches impassable. The NCDU were tasked to scout and clear paths to make the beach landings possible. Their mission was incredibly important and yet extremely dangerous. The day before D-Day, the NCDU were deployed to Normandy. While sustaining heavy losses, they successfully cleared half the beach and opened 3 other parts for the D-Day assault. Only 48% of all NCDU soldiers survived that day. Based off the same idea as the NCDU, the underwater demolition teams, known as the UDT, were used against Japan in the Pacific. The US realized they needed the UDT after the first beach landing on Tarawa, when a few thousand Marines drowned due to the landing boats getting caught on coral reefs far from the shore. The UDT were deployed to scout island shores and destroy beach obstacles before every major amphibious attack in the Pacific. The UDT were soon known as the Naked Warriors, since they only brought a pencil and slate for recon, a knife, bombs clearing a beach, and the swimsuit they swam in. Shortly after the end of World War II, the Cold War began, where the UDT were back in action in the Korean War. They evolved from the underwater-only missions to maritime-inserted land-based missions alongside the Marines. They became known as frogmen because of their shiny dry suits, fins, and their ability to operate in and out of the water. After the Korean War, Arleigh Burke suggested the idea of a covert team to keep pressure on the communist powers. Knowing that Eisenhower, and later Kennedy, wanted to use unconventional warfare units, he led the Navy Pentagon staff to create Navy units for these conflicts. The Navy took the best UDT soldiers and the best officers from the other fields of expertise to teach the new team how to strategically fight on land, underwater, and in the air. The Navy SEALs were launched with JFK's order in the early year of 1962. This resulted in the transformation of the UDT into the SEAL teams. The name SEAL stands for Sea, Air, and Land, showing that they could fight on any terrain. This team gave the United States an upper hand in combat and gave JFK a non-nuclear tactical option that did not require deploying a large military force that could easily escalate into a war. Right after the creation of the SEALs in 1962, they were sent to Vietnam to train the South Vietnamese Viet Hai Trung Force commandos in use of guerrilla tactics and fighting style. During these years, the commandos were also given missions to carry out in order to push back communism. The targets for their missions were given to the SEALs by the CIA, where the SEALs formulated the plan and executed the mission. This alignment with the CIA, which continues to this day, gave the elite fighting force critical military intelligence that gave them an upper hand in the engagement and enabled them to be utilized far more strategically in a larger conflict. Navy SEALs played a critical role in Vietnam. They conducted hit-and-run assault tactics using helicopters, prisoner-of-war rescue missions, and special intelligence collection operations, as well as neutralizing high-value targets. The SEALs had such an effect on Vietnam that even the Viet Cong rightfully feared them, as a small group of SEALs had over 600 confirmed Viet Cong kills. The Viet Cong put a bounty on their heads and called them the men with green faces because of the camouflage makeup they wore. Even though the war continued for Vietnam, it would not be over for the SEALs until 1972, when the last SEAL left as the U.S. began to untangle itself from Vietnam. In an exclusive interview with Drew Warren, Master Chief SEAL Kirby D. Harrell, whose career spanned nearly 47 years with the teams, commented,
And all of the training that grew out of Vietnam is basically taught today. There's a lot of differences, but there's a lot of the way that we act as small units and in our small unit tactics that are still taught today. So the lessons learned in Vietnam have continued to move forward and are still very successful in combat today.
In 1980, Operation Eagle Claw attempted to rescue 53 Americans taken hostage in the U.S. Embassy in Iran. The Navy directed a team created for hostage rescue missions to formulate the rescue. However, the mission soon became a catastrophe as an Allied helicopter collided with an Allied troop carrier. Seeing this, the Navy realized they needed a full-time anti-terrorism unit and tasked Richard Marinko to design and develop what was dubbed SEAL Team 6 in an effort to convince the Russians that we had more SEAL teams than we really did. The group was built from the ground up by him, and he handpicked all of the members. During Operation Urgent Fury in Grenada in 1983, the SEALs were utilized in 4 missions. One of the missions given to SEAL Team 6 was to rescue Governor General Sir Paul Scoon and his wife. The plan called for SEALs to insert near the mansion, secure the governor and his wife, then evacuate them. Unfortunately, the mission unfolded poorly. The SEALs secured the couple in the mansion without trouble, but the enemy counterattacked and kept 9 SEALs trapped in the mansion for nearly 24 hours, against a force of more than 100 rebel soldiers with RPGs and tanks. With little more than small arms and sniper rifles, the SEALs held off the larger force until the following day, when they were able to successfully extract the governor without any loss of life, though the other operations in Grenada were less successful. Operation Eagle Claw and Urgent Fury ended with mixed results and highlighted the need for enhanced strategic planning, better intelligence, and tactical training to assure the desired outcome of military operations. This legacy resulted in an ongoing real-time learning approach that captured current combat dynamics into the next team's deployment. Improvements were made so that lessons learned in one day of combat would be implemented across the network in as short as 48 hours. This, augmented by enhanced military intelligence and improved technology, led to a definitive edge over the enemy, best exemplified in the next conflict coined by George Bush as the War on Terror, after Al-Qaeda forces flew 2 commercial airliners into the Twin Towers on September 11, 2001. SEAL Team 6 became the tip of the spear in pursuit of high-value targets which included Osama bin Laden, Saddam Hussein, and their chain of command. This led to a 10-year pursuit during which the SEALs honed their craft of learning from their engagements, refining the intelligence, and adapting quickly to new techniques used by the enemy. The Navy SEALs' impact on the War on Terror accounted for approximately 15,000 confirmed kills of Al-Qaeda and Taliban insurgents. SEAL Team 6 answered the nation's desperate call for justice in the early hours of May 2, 2011, when Osama bin Laden met his fate inside of a Pakistani hideout in the form of 2 lethal rounds fired by a Navy SEAL. This operation accentuated their military superiority as a result of having better equipment, training, and military intelligence over the enemy, and gained themselves the title America's Most Lethal Fighting Force. Their legacy has created an unstoppable force that is more effective, efficient, and puts less American lives at risk than anything before. From the start, the Navy SEALs have altered U.S. history from their early roots in the NCDU on the shores of Normandy, to the UDT on the islands of the Pacific, then the Frogmen of Korea, to the Navy SEALs who fought communism in Vietnam, and changed the way America waged war during the War on Terror, best exemplified by the incredible SEAL Team 6, who took down the most wanted man in the world.